Good morning, everyone. My name is Will Thompson. I'm the United States Attorney for the Southern District of West Virginia. Moments ago, John H. Wellford III, 73 of Charleston, pled guilty to falsification of bankruptcy records. I'm going to give a quick introduction of everybody who's behind me and then explain the case, let a couple other people speak, and then open it up for questions. Behind me is FBI Pittsburgh Special Agent in charge Kevin Rojek. FBI Special Agent Greg Lipari, Assistant U.S. Trustee Gary Kinder, he's in charge of the United States Trustees Charleston Field Office, Captain L.J. Deskins of the West Virginia State Police Bureau of Criminal Investigation, Major E.D. Widmeyer, Chief of Field for the West Virginia State Police, Captain C.F. Kane, Deputy Chief of Field for the West Virginia State Police, First Sergeant L.K. Boytek, Director of the West Virginia State Police Intelligence Unit's WIVIX, and also an FBI Task Force officer. As I said moments ago, Mr. Wellford pled guilty to bankruptcy fraud. On March 29, 2019, Wellford filed for bankruptcy on behalf of Corrigan, Inc., a real estate development company he owned and operated. As part of the bankruptcy, he was required to do a statement of financial affairs, which required him to disclose all monetary transfers from Corrigan from outside the ordinary course of business that had occurred in the 2 years prior to filing a bankruptcy. That's just a typical bankruptcy filing requirement. Wellford admitted that despite this requirement, he did not disclose that he had transferred $925,000, $326.43 from Corrigan on or around May 2, 2018, to another of Wellford's businesses, Marsh Fork Development. Wellford admitted that he did not disclose the transfer because he wanted to keep the money for himself and his companies. He did not want the money to be available to creditors who were actively trying to collect on other debts at this time. He was given multiple opportunities, even after initial bankruptcy filing, to correct this error. The filing of the bankruptcy itself is done under the penalty of perjury. There was a meeting of creditors where he was placed under oath and he failed to disclose this. And there was also 2 other times where he amended the bankruptcy schedules twice to account for other transactions that took place at the same time as this transaction, but failed to do so. To give you a little bit more backstory on this, about 10 months prior to his bankruptcy filing, Corrigan received a large influx of cash while it was struggling financially, and while one of its creditors was actually trying to collect on the debt. He deposited a check of $1,978,101.40 from American Electric Power in Corrigan's bank account on or around April 30th, 2018. Very soon after the funds were available, he essentially split them in half. He transferred approximately one half to another creditor insider and the other half of the funds to Marsh Fork Development, another one of his companies. From that money, he then transferred $680,000 to his lawyer's client trust account. Over the next 5 months, Wellford caused his lawyer to transfer the entire $680,000 back to various businesses that Wellford owned, but primarily Marsh Fork Development. Wellford is scheduled to be sentenced on August 7th of this year at 1:30 p.m. He faces a maximum penalty of up to 20 years in prison plus 3 years of supervised release and up to a $250,000 fine or up to twice of the pecuniary loss. I want to be clear why this was done. The defendant sought to abuse the bankruptcy process and conceal the transfer of these substantial funds because he wanted to keep that money and did not want it to be available to his company's creditors. There is a lot of really good work that went on, not only from the people standing behind me, but from other people, and I want to make sure they're acknowledged. The Federal Bureau of Investigation did a wonderful job on this. The West Virginia State Police did a wonderful job, and I'm going to shout out to 2 of them here in just a moment for the work they did. The West Virginia State Auditor's Office was very instrumental. Their Public Integrity and Fraud Unit helped on this matter quite a bit, as well as the West Virginia Offices of Insurance Commission Special Investigations Division. I'm going to give a shout out to one of the people behind me, Lex Boytek. He's a state trooper, and I don't know the best way to describe that, but he was very determined to make sure this case was prosecuted, kept in constant contact with our office, and both as his work as a state trooper and as a task force officer at the FBI, he did an incredible job. And he wanted me to give a shout out to recently retired First Sergeant S.E. Wolf of the West Virginia State Police, who I believe also assisted him quite a bit in this. Like I said, this is a case that required a lot of work, a lot of cooperations from various agencies, and we got that. The first person I'd like to introduce is one of our biggest partners, and that is FBI Special Agent in Charge Kevin Rojek. FBI is assigned to investigate and help with the prosecutions of bankruptcy fraud cases, and they do an incredible job. So, Mr. Rojek?
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Thompson. As U.S. Attorney said, my name is Kevin Rojek. I am the Special Agent in charge of FBI Pittsburgh, who handles all of West Virginia. I'm honored to represent the FBI today and the part that we played in this investigation. The hard work of our investigators, coupled with our partnerships, is what made this happen. Working closely with the U.S. Attorney's Office, United States Attorney Will Thompson, the West Virginia State Police, and the West Virginia State Auditor's Office. None of us is an island, and this level of cooperation and collaboration is critical in the pursuit of justice for victims, no matter what the crime. U.S. Attorney Thompson covered the details of the investigation, and I'll just add that our investigation found that Mr. Wellford willingly chose not to disclose the fraudulent transactions at any time, despite the opportunity to do so while under oath. Financial crimes undermine the foundation of our economic stability. I am proud of the work of our investigators, and I'm proud of the FBI's continued work to be the guardians of financial integrity. This conviction should send a clear message that our economy is not a marketplace for manipulation, theft, or criminal activity. No one is above the law, and our resolve to uphold the law remains resolute. Thank you.
So next, I'd like to introduce U.S. Bankruptcy Trustee Gary Kinder. Bankruptcy fraud is somewhat unique in prosecution. We have a wonderful relationship with our bankruptcy trustee's office. They essentially make the referrals. I mean, that's part of their job, is to ensure that the bankruptcy process keeps its integrity. When they suspect fraud or see fraud, they make a direct referral to our office. I'm happy to report, and I'm hoping I'm not stealing Gary's thunder, but so far this year and that's the entire United States, correct? Across the entire United States, there has been 8 convictions for bankruptcy fraud. The Southern District of West Virginia, which is a relatively small portion of the United States, has been responsible for 3 of those convictions so far this year. With that being said, I'd like to introduce Trustee Kinder.
Thank you. I can't emphasize enough how important accurate and truthful information is to the bankruptcy process. It really only functions with that. And I really want to express my thanks to U.S. Attorney Thompson and all the partners up here who really are, as he mentioned, nationwide leaders here in the Southern District of West Virginia. And the effort and attention they've shown to this, which is sometimes doesn't get the publicity or attention that other more exciting cases have. It causes a lot of people to overlook this, but it really does have wide-ranging effects and ripples out beyond just the cases that are prosecuted. So I really just want to express the U.S. trustees' appreciation for all their hard work.
The final person I'd like to recognize, and I normally don't do this, and I'm not going to require to talk, but I want to recognize one of my Assistant United States Attorney, Holly Wilson. She prosecuted this case. I would hazard to guess that we probably had 6 or 7 personal discussions on how to handle it, how to move forward on it. She did an incredible job on this. And we've got some other AUSAs who are doing incredible jobs on these types of cases as well as all the cases that we're handling. I want to wrap it up, and then I'll take any questions anyone has. Bankruptcies protect people who are unable to pay their debts, while at the same time providing as much protection as possible for creditors. When people use fraud to game the system, it undermines our economy. That being said, any questions?
Mr. Kinder, 3 in the Southern District of West Virginia out of 8 nationwide. Does that mean there's more fraud here, or are we just better at finding it?
I don't believe there's more fraud here. I think that I'll shout out Jonathan Storage, and Holly, who have paid attention to it and have developed a process that I think is particularly effective. And I think that it's kind of exceptional skill and effort that is the result of that.
Other questions?
Were there other people involved in this, or just one person?
Bankruptcy impacts a lot of people, but as far as anyone who committed bankruptcy fraud, Mr. Wellford was the only one we determined that committed bankruptcy fraud. There was other people, obviously there was creditors involved and things of that nature, but we're not aware, or at least of anything that's chargeable. Okay.
To the average viewer who might be watching this, why is something like this so important for them to keep an eye on?
First of all, the amount, it's $1 million. There was $1 million that was being cheated out of the system. I think that in and of itself should gather some eyeballs. But people need bankruptcy. I know friends, I think I did one bankruptcy case as a lawyer once. And it's both sides. Not only are the people who are not able to pay their debts, it's also the people who the debts are owed to, the creditors. When people are doing this and gaming the system, it undermines everybody's trust in our economy, in the court system, and whether or not, do I pay my credit card bill or not. So I think it's very important that we do look at the cases like this and we do prosecute it when we can.
Talk about the advantages of having the different agencies working together, because that wasn't always the case years ago.
I don't know how many skills I actually have myself, but I have a pretty good team builder, I'll call it that. And the people behind me represent part of that team. Getting people to work together, it's been a focus since the minute I've stepped in this office, not only to make this office function as a team, but to make everyone that works with this office, whether it's our federal partners, our state partners, our local partners, our bankruptcy trustee, to give everyone a say, to let everyone know they're part of the team, part of the process. Listen when there's concerns. I consider that's probably my most important duty as U.S. Attorney, is being essentially the coach. Getting everybody to work on the same page, getting everybody to work on the same team. Doesn't mean we're all going to agree all the time. Doesn't mean we're all going to be happy with decisions at the end, but making everybody part of it. And I think this is a great reflection. This case is a great reflection of that type of work. And I hope this is, not only on this case, but of all the cases we handle, is reflective of that. Other?
I think that it's becoming more, bankruptcy is becoming more prevalent.
I mean bankruptcy itself or bankruptcy fraud?
Oh, bankruptcy or whatever, whichever is becoming.
There's probably always been fraud, and there's always been sloppiness. I think what we're doing, at least in the Southern District of West Virginia, is spotlighting that to make people, when they file for bankruptcy, and we're encouraged. It's a legal process; it's allowed, and protects a lot of people. I've seen both sides of it. I've seen the creditors and I've seen the debtors. And it is an important protection. But if somebody thinks that I can commit this fraud and not get caught, that's going to encourage more people to commit fraud. So I'm hoping I'm sending the exact opposite message, that we're not discouraging anyone from filing for bankruptcy. And in fact, there are situations that warrant it every single day. But when you do, make sure you tell the truth.
You said this transfer of funds happened in 2019. What tipped y'all off to investigate it, and how did that start?
Great question. The very first part of it, it comes through the bankruptcy trustee. They make a referral saying that we see something here that doesn't look quite right, that there's a transaction that was missed, and this is not that we're excusing a $5,000 bankruptcy fraud or something of that nature, but this was almost $1 million. So they caught that, they made the referral. We got the FBI involved, the FBI got the state police involved. I know the auditor's office participated in it. The West Virginia Department of the Insurance Commission, they played a role as well. So that's essentially what tipped it off. We have a good working relationship with the bankruptcy trustee. So that was the initial how the case got started.
And when did that go to the FBI?
We got the report, I think, in September of 21. And then it's taken some time, and I'm going to shout out to Lex Boytek again. He didn't let us drop the ball on this. He was very dogged in his pursuit of this case.
I know he hasn't been sentenced or anything yet, but do you know how long he could face?
The maximum penalty is up to 20 years. I don't expect that. They're just going to work with the probation office, go through, look at his criminal history, of which I think there's almost none. I think there is none. So that would have a great impact on it. And then there's some other things. That's all left up to the court, and I'm going to let the courts do its job.
Were there any other, stipulations of the plea agreement or any charges dropped, anything like that?
The plea agreement was 10 pages long. So yes, there was some stipulations back and forth. It was also done by what's called an information. An information is not an indictment. It's basically an agreement between the parties where we've agreed that y'all have enough evidence to go forward on this, and we're going to plead guilty to it. So there wasn't any technically charges dropped or anything, because there wasn't an indictment. But it was a lengthy plea agreement. Other questions? Anything from anybody behind me? Thank y'all very much.